currently 0-3, bottom of the barrel for their respective divisions. However, Lowely just won 4th place at WCS Europe. That means the 4th place winner of all of Europe is last in one of the divisions of NASL. That is crazy in my eyes.
Yeah, Thorzane didn't do as well as Lowely.
Nope.
Brett didn't do as well as
Nope.
Lowely. I mean, Nanywan didn't even make WCS Europe. Sasai didn't even make WCS Europe. And those are the guys that are most Mana, the DreamHack champion, didn't
staggering to me,
even get that far. Lowely placed higher than all of them. I mean, he got outplaced by Stefano, Lucifron, and Vortex. 3 guys that no shame to be behind.
Absolutely not.
But better than all of those guys, even Nurchio. Lowely beat out Nurchio.
But you know, it's just so crazy having both these players 0-3. But this player in the bottom left-hand corner, Ganzi, he's a person capable of playing at the very top level. The problem is internet, and as we were talking about in the beginning, an identity crisis. Ganzi just doesn't know what style to do a lot of times. And that's where I really feel like his builds need to be put into question a little bit sometimes. But Ganzi, I don't know. It feels like he's not as refined. Even last game, even though he just felt like he outclassed Lowely. We saw, I don't know if it was just like toying with his food, playing with his food. Is that what they say?
Yeah,
playing with his food. Or it was just like, oh, how do I finish? I would like to think he was just playing around. I think he was just playing around.
The ghosts, the nukes.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, at any stage, it's always actually really fun to play with nukes at late game. But you have to kind of be able to throw away gas like that if you don't plan on going Sky Terran as a transition. Because some Terrans from that spot would go Mass Ravens, right? Mass Battle Cruisers, Vikings. And a lot of people actually think that that kind of form of Terran is almost indestructible. Like when you do it correctly and don't get fungled and you make sure to EMP stuff, if you go Ghost Sky Terran, there's almost nothing that can touch you at late game TVZ. Especially if you have a huge army count and no workers, right, in mass orbitals. But Ganzi decided to just say, well, to hell with that, I'm just going to nuke everything, which is exactly what my boss says. Not here at NASL, but like I work for a nonprofit, and whenever he's mad, he just says, nuke everything.
Oh, I thought he just microwaves for his diet.
No.
Nuke it. Nuke it.
I had no idea what that meant for the longest time until I finally got a job in an office. People said, like, can you nuke my food? And I had no idea what they meant for a long time.
It's all right, Frodan. We learn. We learn slowly but surely.
That's right. We do. Slowly but surely, we see Lowely trying to climb his way back into relevancy. And Lowely does prepare. You can see everything he did in the early game last game in Cloud Kingdom.
Except he didn't kill Supply Depot.
Right. But everything that Lowely did, he recognized from Ganzi's tendency to play on Cloud Kingdom, and he prepared it. So you can't blame Lowely. Came and did his homework. It's just that Ganzi, like, because of those corners that he cut, got so far ahead. So far ahead. It was ridiculous.
I do want to mention really quickly, statistically, this is the only map where it doesn't matter if you're a Korean or a foreigner. It's a 50-50 split in the North American Star League thus far. And it's with a good, sizable data set. It's not completely accurate yet, but I think it's a pretty good sample to actually justify that this is one of the more even maps. What that tells me, as a statistician, is that Koreans and foreigners kind of have Daybreak figured out. And do you know what that style is on Daybreak when you're ZV anything?
Money.
Sit back, macro, and just chill out for a while.
Get money, get paid, Andre.
Yep.
That's my kind of style. That's Ganzi style.
But you know what they say, mo money, mo problems. That's when things get a little dicey.
See, like the funny thing is some people flip it on saying no money, no problems. I'm like, I don't think that's how it works, man, because I've tried that for a long time, and I have plenty of problems.
It's like my ladder ranking begs to differ.
We see a Banshee coming out once again for Ganzi. This time he's going for Cloak, though. Daybreak is a map where you can go mech, although people still like a bio tank as a nice resort. I don't know necessarily how strong bio is anymore because the avenues can get shut down very easily, especially when all paths convene into that one center area, and Zerg can kind of turtle up.
Frodan, I still like Bio, honestly. I think it is the better version so far. I'm not convinced yet that like the MVP build or any sort of mech build is really that safe. I think there should be a natural transition into late game. I'm just not sure how it's going to be. But I'm not convinced yet, Frodan. I'm just not convinced.
Yeah, maybe, man.
It's just my preference. It's one person.
No, you're absolutely right. I think it depends on how you. I think it really comes down to the maps.
That's actually
like
one of the most important things that I probably should have mentioned. But
on
thank you so much.
Ohana, yeah, like on Ohana, I feel like mech is actually ridiculously
Oh
good.
yes. Oh yes.
But on certain other maps, I don't know. Like
mech
it's really hard to say.
I think mech endgame is the best on Daybreak. Bio, I just feel like is just too flimsy. It like when you go bio on this map, you're always thinking, how can I actually pick my opponent apart and attack at the top left-hand position while attack, or excuse me, if I'm Terran, attack in the bottom right-hand position as well as the main over here in the top middle. And that's towards the end game stages. And I feel like if Zergs actually deflect that pretty easily, then there is no problem. But they don't have the push capacity. You know, it always feels like you're behind when you're going bio because like, don't go to hive tech, don't go to hive tech, don't go to hive tech.
And like even if I do, don't get fungal, don't get like you know, you have to have a lot of map control and vision, which is kind of tough.
Yeah.
But, that's kind of why bio's like again always a finesse kind of style. Mech's more positioning and power. But yeah, like whirlwind. I don't know how strong mech.
Yeah, I don't think mech is good on whirlwind.
But on Daybreak, I think both styles can work, but I do like more of a marine-based composition, at least on Daybreak, because of how fast they can, push the bottom center, and then, drop the main, and then, push down the center as well. Like, and there's just lots of good opportunities. Like you said, though, Daybreak has been figured out. You can see that Ganzi's still utilizing that 2 Banshee style very effectively. As I say that, of course, he loses to 2 Banshee, the caster curse.
Man, he was so good with those Banshees.
Until I mentioned it.
How cool would it be? It's like the what is Day9's thing called again? The Xel'Naga?
The choice of the Xel'Naga or something. Trial of the
Xel'Naga. It's like, oh, this Viking is doing so well, it immediately dies.
Boom! Crushed.
It's like nuke directly on top of it. That is the caster curse.
I always feel like that comes true, though, when I'm laddering. I'm like, man, I am going to lose. Boom! I lose. Oh, man, I'm playing Child of Xel'Naga in their favor.
It's like, wait, it's supposed to be the opposite.
No, I'm supposed to be in control, man.
So we do see a bio being shown. So right now, Lowely knows he's going up against bio. That means his Infestor tech is a little bit stronger. Normally, you don't want to be going purely Zergling Infestor against someone that's meching. So it's great that he got that confirmation. He saw not only the stim, but he saw the Medivacs as well. So it's a really, really big just sigh of relief for Lowely that he knows what he's up against. He knows how to actually react with his army composition, which is so important, as Cloud was saying in his most recent profile.
Yeah, and I think Lowely, I mean, he's still got a nice idea of what he wants to do. He wants to rush for hive. His game plan is pretty set. Yes, even though he doesn't necessarily have that strong of a unit base, he's trying to rush out tech and take advantage of his opponent playing super greedy. Because look, like Ganzi still is going for his 4th base before the 13th minute mark. That in itself is just so, I guess, it's because he doesn't have that much of an army. He's got 1 tank and 41 Marines. Like, imagine if Lowely decided to go for, like, a mass style of Banelings. No answer from Ganzi.
That's right. But it's really hard to actually say that, hey, I'm going to do a mass style of Banelings because I know it's going to win.
Right.
Right? So that's kind of like the tough spot. There are 2 main ways, I think, to actually approach this. One is to do exactly what you said, which is to do some sort of all-in. And you'll obviously win straight up. I mean, 2-2 timings plus Zergling Baneling. How can Terran actually stop this? You can see 2-2 is just about to roll in. If there was a huge attack right now, Ganzi would be dead. There's no 2 ways about that. But the other way to do this is to actually put on pressure like you're going to do an all-in and force your opponent to make units that he doesn't necessarily want to. He's going to be a lot more frantic to get out as many units as possible. Normally, it's barracks units for the most part because, of course, barracks are the most accessible. And because of that, you're going to actually disable them from pushing out because they don't have a high siege tank count. And from there, you can actually tech really rapidly 2 Broodlords. But, it's a very tough thing to do when Lowely doesn't even have a clue that this is going on. I mean, the fact of the matter is, both of these players have been very lackadaisical with their scouting.
Yeah, they're very blind on both halves. Ganzi scans and says, well, Hive's done. How long has it been done? Well, actually, Ultra's Cavern is finishing up, so in the next minute or so, Ultras will be out onto the field. Although Lowely can't really squeeze out too much, he does have his fourth base just established. But the most important thing is once he starts getting the spine crawler wall, starting able to establish the center, it's going to be really hard to remove him from that. Although Ultralisk is an interesting choice on Daybreak. A lot of people love getting Broodlords because of how far you can push down the middle and really force the fourth out of the turn. What do you think about Ultralisk on this map?
I love Ultras. I think I prefer Ultras to start off. I've been doing a style of ZVT where I start with Ultras and then get double Spire and only transition after I get 1-1 or 2-2. The main reason for that is 3-3 Marines against 0-0 Broodlords. Let me tell you how that works out. Doesn't work out. You're basically relying on your ground still to keep you going. And the way I see it is, let's wait for my upgrades a little bit. Just one round. 1-1 at the very least. And then I'll transition a little bit later. I think that's the most effective way. So I like Ultras to start off, and I hope for a transition a little bit later, which we already have the Spire going down over here in the mid-right. So I like it, Lowely. Lowely agrees with me, see?
Well, let's see how Ganzi's going to respond. He's already starting to go in mass Marauder production. Great pickup there. You just need to start pumping out Marauders as fast as you can to control space, to deal with the Ultralisk Marines when against the full armored upgraded Ultras, especially when they have the upgraded advantage in terms of speed. It's very tough to handle.
This is not the best position though. Lowely is going into a huge line of siege tanks. Fungal Growth is not going to latch onto any of the Marines. Wow, did Lowly just do the worst attack possible. You do not attack into a position when you have Zergling Ultra. You have to actually force units away from it. So attack the PF and then use your Infestors to actually start fungling like crazy. Lowly just took a massive blow right there. And this counterattack is going to be so hard to stop. It's going to at least net, I would say, at least one base, Frodan. This is going to be very difficult to stop. Let's see if Lowely has any tricks up his sleeves.
His army is not going to be that large. He's got 11 Infestors, 1 Ultra, 38 Zerglings, but he's only got 7 Ultras on the way because he's got 100 workers. He's got 100 workers. That is way too many at this stage of the game. Lowely really trying to maximize his economy, although he does have a lot of creep extended. That's something that's really nice. He will have a lot of mobility.
Yeah, but Frodan, he should have 60 more Zerglings in his army.
Yeah.
30 supply, too many in drones, and that's really a shame.
Oh, well, Ganzi's on siege, and Lowely knows he's going to try to cut him off ahead of time. The Marines are not in position. The tanks are even siege. Oh, they're going to try to use the ramp, and the Marines are all clumped on the ramp. The Fungals are not going to get there in time. Only one Fungal really able to get up, but it may not even matter as long as the Ultras are able to just full out engage.
Look at those medevacs, Frodan. 9 of them. Boom! Oh. All of them goes down, and that is a very critical blow. Very nicely done by Lowely. But the fact of the matter is he's not on a lot of bases. He still needs to scrounge up a little bit, but he has a little bit of momentum. If he can use this to take out the Planetary Fortress in the top left-hand corner, that'll be so good. Because right now, Ganzi is committed to defending this middle area. He cannot move from this middle area because he needs to defend this area and here. So it's going to leave that top left open. If he goes to try to defend it, Fungals will just rip his army apart. I don't think he should actually go up here, but Lowely, it looks like we're going to have another confrontation, Frodan.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of Zerglings in front. The Infestors are in front, taking a lot of damage. The Ultralists do get their way with the Planetary Fortress, but Ganzi, if he can clean up this army, he'll be nice.
Done by Lowely.
But good Fungals from Lowely to be able to lock down the army. Ultras are doing great amount of damage. Ganzi's production is still very high. He's making 3 tanks at a time. Oh, the tanks are clumping up into a small little space. That's a really good position for Ganzi. But the Fungals, the Follow Fungal might be able to do enough to latch down to the army and really weaken them for the Ultras. But the Ultras are not even really doing much. They're all just piling straight for the pickets.
the Ultras all just dive straight into the work area of the SCVs. The Fungals were not even that effective because their medevacs were in a great spot, and Ganzi holds, and just like that, Lowely throws away almost all of his army with no real ability to remake those Ultras.
Oh, look at this. Ganzi will do his patented aggression in the bottom right-hand corner. Lowely, though, has played a remarkable game so far, but the fact of the matter is he has to remake Infestors because he lost all of them right there. And then he can actually work on more high-tech units. It looks like he's getting Corruptors right now. I think Ultras are still a better choice in this situation just because Corruptors are very passive. You don't want to give Terran that much time because normally, Terrans do actually save up orbital commands, although Ganzi's style doesn't really involve that. You can see instead he goes for mass production. There's a lot of production off of his, 2 bases right now? So Ganzi has a surprisingly large army. That's why even that, I mean, it's scary to be going Broodlords at this time. But if Lowely can sneak this out, then yes, he'll be in a good position. It was just a little moment where I felt like Ganzi could have, utilized a counterattack. Yeah.
And just like that, Ganzi's back maxed, but he's maxed on units that honestly are still very mid-game oriented. Doesn't have a lot of Vikings or anything. He's just got pure bio tank. As if he's going for a massive timing. He does have all his upgrades finished. And Ganzi does have all his left side of the base pretty well secured. Again, one thing I got to commend Lowely on is that he has solid creep spread to be able to control all the avenues. Nice reflex there.
Big fungal. And to be expected fungal. But you can see just how many units there are. Are 4 Broodlords at 0-0 really going to do enough damage? We're going to see in a little bit. Does Ganzi actually, is he going to be able to defend this? I think he's actually in good position, Frodan.
Yeah. Oh,
he just needs to split. He needs to split.
No, the Infestors are dying because the tanks are charging forward. Sure, the Fungals get off, but there's so many medevacs that it doesn't even matter. The Broodlords have no one to protect them.
And they're just tickling everything, Frodan. There's just not enough Broodlords. They're not upgraded enough. And you can see the Marines are just eating them like it's nothing. Goodbye, Broodlords. Lowly going to fall right here. And that might be the crushing blow. I really feel like, if you want to go Broodlords, you need some sort of upgrade on them. He's just now about to finish +1 flyer Carapace, but it's too little too late. Lowly just doesn't have any hive tech. He doesn't have his Infestors out in the field. And that means this is a dead 4th base, a dead 5th base, which is a dead Lowly.
And Lowely cannot hold this 5th base. It is good as dead. Trying to evacuate the drones. Ganzi on the hot pursuit and knows he wants to eliminate the base in the bottom right as well. Lowely remaking Zerglings, Banelings, and Infestors, but he doesn't really have a strong way to even engage the tanks. The tank count is just so high. Ganzi also sniping out his expansions, trying to choke out his opponent while he starts to incorporate some Vikings into his composition as well. And it's kind of funny because Ganzi has not really remade any workers. So the supply is like in raw army. He's going to have like 150 supply in units.
I don't hate that, bro. And look at how many Vikings. I mean, everything is an advantage for Ganzi. I mean, clearly Ganzi's style is not to really, finesse his opponent or try to do something a little bit fancy like we've seen a lot of these other Terrans do. It's just to have so much stuff that you can't deal with it. It's overpowering.
Too many units. It's the point where you're overwhelmed. Lowly even having to recruit his queens to also fight. And that's what happens when all the boys and men drop. The women have to go to battle. That's true. That's what happened in World War I, I think, right? The women started going to battle and started helping out and stuff. And that's when females were really needed part of the army. It was very nice.
Honestly,
other than that, I think because a lot of females avoided going to war at that time.
But I will take your word for it, Frodan.
No, it was a big thing, man, because they would help like load the cannons and stuff, and like before they never thought they could. Imagine if all the tank drivers were actually women, man, and all the Marines were relying on them. That's legit. And then the Banshees were able to have women pilots as well.
There are women pilots.
Exactly.
Boom.
Exactly.
Anyway, we're going to see the last and final engagement. Oh my gosh, don't get all your Vikings captured like that. Goodness gracious, there could have been just a very nasty little Viking catch right there. But not going to happen. Looks like these Broodlords will start to approach, and the Vikings are clumped up. Why are you clumping your Vikings like that? Well, who cares when you're one-shotting like that?
No, it doesn't really matter. There's too much power. Again, Ganzi dropping 5 Ghost Academies. Is he really going to allow this game to go that much longer to the point where he's just going to start nuking everything again? Nuke it all, Andre. GG. And Ganzi takes the series 2-0. And Lowely goes 0-4 in maps today. Andre, what was the is it the big engagement at the 4th where he lost almost everything there?
It's that. You don't ever attack into a position. He could have actually just stopped and said, okay, you can have your 4 bases. I'll have my 4 bases. Let's go into it really quickly. I think we have an instant replay of it. This is one of the big battles that actually gave Lowely, I think, a lot of momentum. I think Ganzi should always back up from here and just chill out. But losing that many medevacs is actually critical because you need those Marines and Marauders to actually tank those Ultras. That sounds weird, but Marines are actually a really good way of tanking Ultras. Just because they're light units, they don't take as many fires, and if you have constant medevac healing on them, you can spread them out in such a way that they're not really attacking many units, maybe 1 Marine at the very least. But that being said, I think not only was it the Ultras going into the 4th base in the middle of the map, but the Broodlord switch. I felt like the Broodlord switch was very out of place, right. And you need to actually upgrade.
No upgrades.
Yeah, you need to upgrade.
Well, that all spells the death of Lowely. He is now 0-4 for today and now drops to 0-4 after 4 weeks of play. Well, we hope Lowely the best of luck in the next couple of weeks because it's very tough in Division number 3, especially because we have 2 of the strongest players yet to come up.
Yes, sir.
Guys, that game in series was brought to you by Azo Monitors. To pick up your own, go to azo.com/NA for more information. When we return, Alicia versus Hero, Protoss versus Protoss will kick off. Don't go anywhere, guys. The match of the night right after this.